everyone. Thought I'd do something a little bit different today and make a video update instead of a blog post or a typical blog post. And honestly, I'm just doing that because I had a really long post. I think it was maybe 3 pages and it still wasn't done yet. And I'd written that all about the Gansu trip that I took that you might have heard about. But then my laptop died, the post apparently did not save to OneDrive like I thought it did, and it was gone. And I've just been too mad to rewrite it. So instead, I would be a lot easier. I could just talk about what's been going on and why I haven't been updating at all for a long time. But of course, the day that I decide to make a video is the day I have insane hiccups. So yeah, I'm just gonna be hiccuping through the video and it'll be fine. So I want to talk a little bit about why I never really posted anything last semester, spring semester. I think I might have posted once. I don't really remember. It's been a long time. Yeah, I didn't post because I guess I was kind of in a slump. When you go through PST, they always give us this schedule. I kind of think of it as like the slump schedule, where there's periods of time in the 2-year service that's really common for volunteers to just kind of feel down. Like there's like preset schedule for when the volunteers are high, we're all doing really well, and then there's periods of time that's typical for volunteers to just feel a little down, maybe homesick or just not as happy as before. And winter break right at the beginning of spring semester is one of the first big dips in that schedule, and I guess I kind of fell hard there. Part of it, I think, was just the typical stuff that every volunteer probably goes through. And then another part of it for me was that a lot of you probably know this, I went back home to Wisconsin during winter break, and then coming back was hard for me. I don't think everybody has difficulty, I guess, reintegrating into China. But for me, it was hard just because at that time, I didn't have city or site mates. I didn't have a lot of friends at site yet, so there was like this stark difference between I was at home, I was with all of my family and my friends, eating cheese every single day of my life, and pizza and all of my favorite food, and then I came back to China and it was like back to gray skies and this massive apartment by myself. It was cold, I was huddled up in a blanket next to my heater. There were just a lot of factors that made it hard for me. So at that point in time, I was dead set on, we call it ETing, it's short for early termination of service, basically quitting. I was dead set on quitting. I came back here, I packed up all of the winter clothes that I was done with, and I was like, I'm just gonna finish out this semester and then go back home to my family and my friends and the life that is easier to lead, where I could, go to a grocery store and buying things in English is so easy, where, people aren't taking pictures of me and following me around the store all the time. And at the time, I thought it was the best decision for me. And I kind of went into the semester with this really negative mindset where I was just thinking, I'm going to survive this semester. I'm just going to get through it, and then my life will be better when I go back home. But then maybe halfway through the semester, things really started changing for me. I guess the sun started coming back out again and the skies were blue again, which, that has a bigger impact than I realized before. Just like the weather can just change everything. So that was a big factor. Then one of my students, Mueller, he was my student fall semester. And then spring semester, he asked to be a TA for some of my classes. So I started hanging out with him a lot more. We got some milk tea together, and he would come and teach me how to make some Chinese food. So I started making friends with some of my students, which was really cool. Some of my other students met up with me because they were doing the work and travel program, where they sign up to work somewhere in the US, usually at like hotels or amusement parks. I used to work at Six Flags, and I worked with a lot of work and travel students there. So it was really interesting kind of being on the other side of it, seeing them in their home country before they leave. Anyway, a lot of them came and talked to me just asking me questions about the US. A lot of them were worried about safety issues, um, like gun violence in particular. So it was really interesting kind of approaching those questions. Anyway, all in all, I got a lot more comfortable at site. I had a lot more friends. I was going out to dinner with people. And then I realized I was crazy before. I shouldn't have jumped, I don't know, so far so fast. And I really became a lot happier here. So I'm really, really glad I didn't just like quit right away, that I kind of gave it some time and sat on it before making a huge decision like that. Because everything is so different now. I love it here. I mean, sure, sometimes we all have days, I think, myself included, where it living here can be hard, but it's maybe a day now. It's not like weeks where I'm like, I don't want to be here anymore. Um, I'm really, really happy that I decided to wait it out. So yeah, that's why I really wasn't updating before. Most of last semester, I wasn't updating because it felt pointless. I was thinking, why would I update my blog when I'm just gonna leave anyway? It doesn't really make sense. And then by the end of the semester, I was just so busy, you know, grading and meeting up with my students and hanging out that, yeah, blog just kind of fell off the radar. But I'm hoping this year I'll be able to pick it back up again, keep you guys updated, let you know what's going on, maybe give you a taste of what my life is like here. So for this video, hopefully it won't stretch on too much longer, I do want to talk a little bit about my summer travel. I went on a trip to Gansu, which is up in the north of China. It was a really, really cool trip. It was so cool. The first place we went was Dunhuang, which was like right on the edge of the desert. I think it was maybe like northwestern Gansu, but I'm not sure. Me and geography are not friends in any country, even in the US. I'm not great with geography. Anyway, so Dunhuang was probably my favorite city of the trip. It was really cool. Probably helped that I think that was the city where we had a really nice hotel for really cheap. So we went to the night market there, which was really fun. Got to like haggle for some things, bought some souvenirs to bring back home. So some of you might be lucky enough to get some of those. That Dunhuang was also the place where we went camping in the desert, and that was quite the experience. I think I want to go into detail about what happened there. So this video might be a little long, but it's fine. It's worth it for this story. So it starts off, we asked the hotel to like help us find a camping, like a place where we could go camping. And they connected us to this hostel that takes people out on camping trips. So we went out for that, but the group that I was with, our Chinese isn't, like, we have enough Chinese to be able to communicate, like, basic needs, but conversation level is not there. So we weren't exactly sure of all of the information about going on this camping trip. All we really knew was that we were supposed to be at the hotel lobby at, I think, 4 o'clock maybe? It doesn't really matter. We were supposed to meet in the lobby at a certain time, and then a car was going to pick us up. Where the car was going to take us, we weren't really sure. Were we going to have, like, camping supplies given to us, like a tent and a sleeping bag? We weren't really sure, but we figured it was going to be fine. So we got to the lobby at the time, sat around for an hour, and then the car finally came to pick us up, and we just packed into this van without really an idea where we were going, but we knew we were going to the desert, and we knew we were camping, so that's all we really wanted. We got into this van, we left, we stopped, a couple more people piled into this van, and we were like, all right, we're gonna go camping as a group with some other people. It's gonna be nice, we're gonna make new friends, it's exciting. Still don't know what's happening, still excited. And then the van stopped somewhere behind this like city bus, and we all piled out of the van and we packed into this bus, and then like a horde of more people packed into this bus, and we're like, all right, so this is like a big group, like a large group camping trip. Not what we were expecting, but the fact that there's other people going there made us feel better because we were definitely not going to be kidnapped and have our organs harvested. So that was great news. Um, then this bus took us to like the very, very edge of the Gobi Desert, and there was this like camp site, like a camp party site. I don't know how else to describe it. There were a bunch of two-man tents, maybe like 20 tents, that could hold 2 people each. And I think they had a bunch of little like pop-up tents too. And there was this stage in the middle, more on that later, a bunch of picnic tables, so it was like a camping grounds, I guess. But not the kind where people can just wander in. Like it was like a group scheduled camping grounds thing. So we all got in, we like stashed our stuff in a tent, and then we were all kind of herded out into the desert for playtime, I think is what they called it. Go play in the desert. So we kind of ran out, we were like hanging out in the dunes. Brittany and Cam were the 2 people that I traveled with over the summer. They were kind of like the leaders almost, or they accidentally ended up doing that, where Cam decided he wanted to climb to the very, very top of this first dune that we were at. So he started going up, and then Brittany tagged along after him, and I was like, that dune is way too high. Walking in sand is not easy. I'm gonna just chill at the bottom here. So they started climbing up to the top, and it took them, it was a while, maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes, maybe a little longer, I can't remember. But they started climbing up, and then like all of the people around us just kept pointing at them going, Lawai, Lawai, like foreigner, foreigner, look at these crazy like foreigners, what are they doing climbing to the top of this freaking dune? So then a bunch of the men started kind of following them up, and then after a while I was like, all right, this is like a once in a lifetime experience maybe. I should probably climb up to the top of that dune too. So I finally decided to start walking up there, and it was one of the most physically difficult tasks I have ever done in my life. It was like, because it was really steep too. Every time I took a step up, I would like slide back down 3 steps because it's just a pile of sand. It's not a mountain. A dune is just a pile of sand. So I kept like sliding down, and eventually I figured that the trick was like I had to like rush up a burst of like 10 steps, and then I would slide down maybe 3. But that was a total, like I was making a progress of 7 steps, so slow progress. So I would like dash up 10 steps and then like die for 5 minutes, and then, eventually I made it up to the top, but I was dead. Like my lungs were on fire, I was exhausted, my legs were burning, but it was so worth it. I'll probably share some pictures of the top of the dune too in my blog, but the pictures don't really do it justice. It looks like, from our vantage point, it looks really low, but that was a really high dune. But like we could look out over the other side, and the sand was untouched. It was really cool seeing like the contrast of where the light was hitting the dunes and then the shadowy side. It was absolutely beautiful. So we could kind of see the sun start to set from up there. We were there for a while, maybe a few hours. But then I was talking about how difficult it was to climb up and how much I really wanted to quit, but I just decided to keep going with it. And somebody, I can't remember if it was Cam or Brittany, it had to be one of them too. One of them was like, oh, that's such a metaphor for Peace Corps service. That was really funny. I had to completely agree with that. So that was probably the highlight of the camping trip. So after we played in the desert, we all came back, had like hot pot dinner, and then the real show started. This man came up on the stage who definitely missed his calling as like a K-pop star. He really wanted to be a pop star. He was like singing and dancing around on the stage. He had this like white outfit full of buckles and all kinds of unnecessary places. He was like decked out. It was great. He had such a personality. So like the show started, he was singing some songs. He pulled up some girls to do some really cool dancing, some like traditional dancing and then some modern dancing. It was really cool. Um, and then he started looking for people to pull onto the stage. And he's looking around. He sees, a bunch of Chinese people, and then he sees foreigners sitting at this table right in front of the stage, and he was not going to pass that up. So he starts looking at our table, needing to pull some of us up there. So I get dragged onto the stage, not really sure what's happening. And then he pulls a bunch of other people onto the stage. Maybe, I don't know how many of there, maybe 20 of us were standing on the stage, and he never explained what was happening to anybody. And even if he did explain it, it would have been in Chinese, so I wouldn't have understood anyway. But I do remember asking some people, and we were like, yeah, we don't know what's going on either. So finally, he split us into two groups. So along one side of the stage was a line of guys, and then the other side of the stage was a line of girls. And I was the first one in line, so he looks at me and he says, like, choose one. And I was like, I have to choose a boy for what? Am I about to choose my future husband? Like, what's happening? Why do I have to choose a Chinese boy? So I kind of just stood there awkwardly, like, staring at them, because I didn't want to choose one, because I felt like that would have been interpreted in a weird way, like, oh yeah, I think you're the hottest Chinese boy here. I didn't want to go down that road, so I just kind of stood there awkwardly until finally one of the boys was like, oh yeah, choose me. So then I just chose him, which to me it was less awkward. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know. So each of us, like, all of the ladies had to choose a male partner, and there was this game that we had to play. We had to take turns. We had this balloon that the man held, like, in front of his chest. He just had a balloon here, and he had to run towards the females, and we had to pop the balloon with our chest. Yeah. So I decided this was gonna be hella awkward no matter what went down. And if it was gonna be weird, I was gonna own it. So I decided, like, if I have to play this stupid game on the stage in front of everybody and be like, funny foreigner doing weird things, then I was gonna, like, win. If I have to play this game, this stupid game, I'm gonna win the game. So, like, the Chinese boy was, like, kind of running at me a little slow, and then I just, like, grabbed him and just popped that balloon. And the way that it worked was we had a time limit, I think maybe 2 minutes or something like that, and we had to see how many different balloons we could pop in that time limit. Yeah. I think we popped maybe 4. We ended up not winning because the girls at the end of the line started using, like, they would put their elbows into the hug and, like, use their elbows to pop the balloon. So other groups popped a lot more. I think me and my partner, I think we popped the most in an uncheating way. We did the best without cheating, in my personal opinion. But yeah, that's the story of how I almost married a Chinese boy on stage, and we ended up popping balloons instead. Oh, no, that wasn't the end of it. I almost forgot. So after, they decided who the winners were, they had to give some punishments to the losers. Alright, sorry, phone call break. Anyway, so we had punishments. In the beginning of the punishments, like the first round of losers, I guess the ones that had the highest points but didn't win, they had to carry the male partner had to carry the female partner around the stage. And I know I had to do that, like, twice, I think, but I can't remember why. Like, somebody couldn't pick up their partner or something like that, so I volunteered to switch out because I was next in line, or there was something weird that I can't remember. So I got carried around the stage twice, and then I know I had to sing a song too. So I sang, like, I don't know, maybe a minute of Let It Go. because that's my go-to song for KTV. It's a form of karaoke that's really popular here. So, after the punishments were done, then I could finally sit down and try not to die of embarrassment. I'm still proud of my performance during the balloon game, though. Yeah, it's alright. Anyway, so that pretty much wraps up what we did in Dunhuang. Crazy story. After that, we went to Jiayuguan, which I know I'm pronouncing incorrectly, but it's fine. And there we saw the Great Wall. I think it's one of the ends of the Great Wall. I know there's a lot of different ends. But there's like the first beacon there. There's some fort, some like ancient fort of some kind. I don't know if it's related to the Silk Road. I can't remember. It's been a long time. But we saw a lot of really cool things related to the Great Wall. And parts of it we saw like the reconstructed bits that we kind of could like walk on and take pictures with. But then we also saw like the actual real old Great Wall. Which at this point, at least this section of it, wasn't super maintained well, but I liked that. I liked the honesty of it, I guess, how it was the real wall. It was pretty much just like a mound of, I don't know, plaster or something like that. Just like a mud hump wall thing. But it was really cool seeing the real one and then seeing like the reconstructed bits for tourists. It was cool to compare the two. So that was really, that was nice. And then the last city that we went to was Jiangye, where we saw the Rainbow Mountains, which were absolutely gorgeous. Definitely recommend anybody who goes to Gansu should go to Jiangye to see those because, oh, they were so cool. It's just these mountains that have like layers of, I don't know, different kinds of rock, I guess. I'm not a geologist. But like there's like stripes of different color in the rock, so it's super beautiful. I'm definitely gonna post a bunch of pictures of those too after the video. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up my Gansu trip. It was a really nice summer. After traveling, I kind of just got to like hang out, relax, you know, recuperate, get ready for the next semester, which still doing now because my classes don't start until October because I only teach freshmen. The freshmen have military training. But I'll talk a lot about that. I'll probably make one more video just to talk about what's going on now in this semester. So now that you guys are all mostly caught up, yeah, I'll see you guys next video, I guess.